Okay, so storyboard project for jokes. I'm doing the hospital joke. Reworked it a little bit, a lot of bit, um, because. All right. First scene starts off emergency area, hospital. It's a point of view shot. The guy, the main character, kind of walking down the halls, and you hear the electrocardiogram. Shuffling of feet. His breath is heavy. He's got like there's a sense of panic, but to balance that out, there's like maybe some funny dialogue going on. Maybe someone's singing funny songs. Maybe a doctor says, why is that my responsibility? Something. That's the first. So point of view shot. He gets the swingy doors of the waiting area and goes through. And you see his hand pushes through, and first thing he sees is his sister, and that's that. So they reunite, um, and the sister goes, "It's terrible, it's terrible." And the boy, is like looks down at her, and he looks at her, he's like, "Oh my God, is that blood?" And the girl stops, and she's like, "Oh yeah, but it's not Dad's." "Oh, it's terrible, it's terrible. Can I see him? Uh, is he dead?" And yeah, he is dead. He's very dead. Um, enter the Rasta doctor. He's like a Rastafarian Jamaican doctor. So yeah, he enters, and out of the corner, you don't see him. He's like off screen. He goes, "Jaman, he's dead." And then the guy looks around, and he's like, "Who are my father? Are you my dad's doctor?" "The dead guy?" says the Rasta guy. I'm not gonna do the Rasta accent. Maybe you'll see a little bit of the Rasta accent, but I'm gonna try to stay away from that. So he's like, "Ja man, I'm the doctor man. Respect. You want to see the floaty fish? Floaty fish, dead fish floats up. So I don't know. Rasta guys would call a dead person floaty fish in this context. Uh, and the guy's like, "My father, you mean?" And "Ja man, this way." So the Rasta guy doesn't really give two shits about the guy's emotions because he's a doctor. He's a Rasta guy. He knows what's up. He knows it's good. So enter the room um, of death. Uh, and you see the electrocardiogram is blank. It's got the flat line. The guy's dead. Looks very peaceful though. Not so bad. Upon seeing his father in that condition though, which is dead, he takes the terrible, ugly face of crying. Ugliest crying face ever. You could imagine. And he goes into a tailspin of emotion. The heavy breathing starts again. You know, um, and he starts. The guy's name is Stan. I decided. Um, so Stan goes into this heavy emotional state, and he has this overly dramatic recollection of, his fondest memories with his father, and he, to balance that, like the seriousness of, actual memories, maybe jokes like, "I love you, I loved you almost as much as you hated mom," or, you know, "I remember how you taught me how to ride a bike. You called me a pussy. I know what you mean now." Something like that. So it transitions to him, having this emotional, very heavy emotional state, to him, falling, collapsing into a chair in the waiting room. Not in the waiting room, in the actual hospital room. Um, so then after that, he's collapsed, and it's great because I would like to see in the background, like he's sitting on the chair, and then those cheesy like motivational posters, like "you can do it" and like "be positive." Like those are gonna be like a ton of those, just too many of those, right behind him. And he's sitting like crying in this terrible state, and he's having the worst day of his life. So then, he is in his emotional state, um, and he gets to the point where he decides to take action, and he yells to the Rasta, get out! And the guy like, not a chance, man. And meanwhile he's like playing the Rasta guy's like playing the bedpan, the peep, when you're sick and you have the silver thing. He's like playing that. It's like bongos kind of during all that. Um, and then you know Stan realizes the Rasta man's not going to leave, so he says to his sister, who's Susanna. Her name is Susanna. Um, Susanna, I need to know. I need to know his last words. And the girl's, Susanna's, what? Were you by his side when he died? Well, of course I was. Oh, and then the guy's like, I just need to know what his last words were. And the girl goes, I I forget. And the guy's, what, you forget? You forget? I'm sorry. I forget. And Stan's like, oh my God, my sister's an idiot. How'd she forget the freaking words? And why the guy, forgot to mention, but why the Rasta guy is like playing the bongos and Stan's freaking out, the girl is like taking the sippy juice that comes with like the trays at the hospital and is like sipping juice too loudly, just really enjoying the juice. I don't know, just kind of losing herself in the juice. Losing herself in the juice. Um, so seeing all that, the Rasta man, steps up and says, "Hey, skinny white boy, it's not over yet. What we got here is the good medicine." And Stan's like, "Good medicine? What do you mean?" And he's like, Rasta guy, this sort of thing happens all the time. And me, being Rasta doctor man, take it upon myself to find a way. And I did. I can give your dad 10 more seconds. Enough for one sentence. All you have to do is give me the signal. Okay? But be sure you're ready. Because you only get these things once. These things, they only come around once, man. And Stan's like, oh, yeah, I can do it. This is great. I don't know how, I don't know why. But thank God this Rasta man is in the room and is my dad's doctor, because I'm going to see my dad again. One last time. 10 more seconds. And so Stan's overjoyed. His sister, Susanna, is sad because, Stan turns to Susanna and he's like, well, are you ready? Are you ready? We can see dad again. And Susanna's like, I don't think I'll ever be ready. The guy, Stan's like, what? What do you mean? He's like, Susanna says, he died. Maybe he was supposed to. And Stan says, you don't want to give dad, 10 more seconds of life? Susanna, I do. It just, I don't feel comfortable. What? What? Are you scared? I mean, well, Stan, sorta. And also, you farted, and I smell it now, and it's really bad, and I just don't. I gotta go. And so Stan's like, all right, fine. You're gonna go? She nods. She leaves. So Stan, she's left. Stan's like, all right, my sister's left. Whatever. I get to see my dad still. I'm still overjoyed with that. Next scene's called Nick Signals. Uh, so Stan gives the okay signal to the Rasta doc. He kind of sees it in the window. Um, Stan takes a breath, centers himself, brushes to his dad's bedside, waits on his dad. And his dad, eyes flutter open. Uh, you know, and then Stan says, Dad, you have 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left. You only have enough time for one sentence. What do you want to say? And the dad, he's kind of confused, like, why am I alive now? He realized he died. Kind of, this all happens in 10 seconds, of course. But he gets it together, and he says, Susanna's gonna want to hear this, and farts and dies. Um, Stan's like, what? What? My Susanna's gonna want to hear this, and he farts and he dies. That's his last words to me, and he's like, just kind of putting it all together. And then the moment kind of comes, and the Rasta man getting his money, because those things aren't free. You don't get to bring people back from the dead for free. He comes back into the room, and the Rasta guy goes, he's gonna say something first, but then he smells the room and he's like, oh man, what died in here? And that's how it ends. So that's the storyboard, and then character-wise, I guess it would be like Stan's kind of like a, rushed businessman kind of guy. Susanna's kind of ditzy but good-hearted, and Rastaman's like the all-wise Morgan Freeman kind of character, the archetypal, whatever. That's the storyboard. I don't know the net title for it, called Hospital Jokes. And that's that. All right.